It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hello to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Benning, and I will be your host for this truly invigorating, robust lifestyle show. First, I'd like to thank each one of our listeners that have tuned in live today and the listeners that will be listening to the podcast. I am just very grateful for each and every one of you. And today, each of you are in for a very special show today, as I have with me a returning diva, Danielle Ramirez, and we are going to chat about Being Wichita Women book. Oh my goodness, are you all in for a special time? So Danielle, could you please introduce yourself to our listeners today?
Absolutely. And first, let me just say thank you, Joyce and Divas That Care Network, for having me on here today. I'm just really excited to connect with the listeners and with you and to share a little bit about myself and about Being Wichita Women. So yes, I am Danielle Ramirez. I am the compiler of a book called Being Wichita Women. That is one of the many hats I wear. We know women wear many hats most days. And so that particular hat is for the anthology that we're building. I'm also a mother of three, and I work with an organization, a wonderful local nonprofit here in Wichita called the Kansas Nonprofit Chamber. So those are just a few of the things that I do, and I am, like you said, I'm one of the divas that I'm just out here trying to live my best life. So thanks for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome, Danielle, and I am just so thrilled to have you on as my guest today, because this is all about what Divas stands for, too, all about women and empowering one another and just impacting lives for others. And this new book, as our title said, Being Wichita Women book, why don't you tell our listeners, intrigue them a little bit with what this book represents and what is it about? So they're going, oh my goodness, that's a book I need to read.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Being Wichita Women originated with me in my mind a couple of years ago. It was shortly after the pandemic started, and it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks that, hey, I need to put a book together. I need to put a story together. And so, in my early 30s, I'm in this process of learning how to trust myself and to trust my instincts and to really follow my dreams, even if they don't fully make sense to me at the moment. And so that's what I did with this book project. I did not have any experience prior in the publishing field. I love writing, but I'm not a professional writer by any means. And so it really hit me that I needed to be able to collaborate with other women locally in telling their stories. So this anthology, this collaborative book project features a little under 30 self-written stories, really exploring the themes of trauma, adversity, resilience, and healing. We know those things can be connected, right? And although maybe not everyone has experienced trauma in their life, everybody has experienced some hardship, and we all have stories of overcoming. when I was talking to women in this process, I said, as women, we have all survived something, right? And especially when you look at it through like an intersectional lens of being like maybe a woman of color, or maybe a woman who has experienced poverty, or other facets of themselves that make their life more challenging. We've survived it, and we are surviving, and we're going above that, and we're thriving. And so this book really does a good job of capturing just little bits and pieces of our dynamic stories.
Oh, wow. Oh, that just sounds incredible. Just under 30 women telling their different stories of overcoming. All of us have challenges, diversity, and trauma can mean so many different things to so many different people, that we all experience so many different realms of this, and how healing and helping one another. Wow, this book sounds absolutely incredible. Are you I believe you're right in the process now of a launch party for this book?
Yes, we are. It's coming away in 2 years. Yeah, we're getting really close.
Uh-huh. Oh, my word. So what is the target date where our listeners will be able to have a hands-on of this book?
Yeah, so for those who will be in the Wichita area or nearby, they can actually join us at our official book release event, which is June 1st, and that is from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the Fun Venue, which is in downtown Wichita. And actually, the books are here with me now, and so we're just kind of, waiting for that June 1st date, and then starting June 2nd, the day following the event, is when people can actually get online, visit the website, and order a book that way as well, because we know not everybody can make it in person. So,
yes.
June 1st, June 2nd, those are kind of our magical dates.
Oh, my word. That is just incredible. And how long of a process has this been? Did you mention 2 years has kind of been in the work of gathering women and connecting with different women on sharing their stories of challenges and ways of healing in their life? Has it been about 2-year time span?
Yeah, it's been a little bit over 2 years. And if you want, I can talk a little bit about what that process was like.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Our listeners, I know, would love to hear that.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk a little bit about that. And also something that just popped into my mind that I want to add. Although the book's title is Being Wichita Women, and we focused on Wichita women, there may be some issues that are unique to Wichita, but really the stories here, like you said, trauma, it is not contained in the borders of Wichita. So there are women, who maybe from Kansas that aren't in Wichita, beyond Kansas, the United States, we know trauma doesn't know borders. So I just wanted to throw in there too that, if people might think, oh, this is a Wichita book, it's not just a Wichita book, but it does focus on the women from here. But so over 2 years ago, I started reaching out to women, and some of the women that maybe I had ran across in meetings or that I knew through professional events or work, or maybe even my personal life, and just started talking to them and asking them, like, when you think of this book and you think of these topics, like, what comes to your mind? And, I mean, women were ready to talk about issues that they face. Now, it's one thing to talk about, like, social issues that we face, and then it's a whole other to really begin to uncover some of the trauma that we've experienced. And let me tell you, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a behavioral health professional. However, I have experienced my own trauma, and I just love learning about how trauma impacts our lives, because it can, oh my gosh, impact us on such a deep level. I mean, I'm reading a book right now by this woman, Megan, who looks at how trauma gets passed through bodies over the generations. And so, you know, I'm exploring this with the women. We're talking, and we're finding, there's a need for us to share our stories. So I had to talk to quite a few women. Some were able to get involved, and I totally get that. But we actually did these different retreat sessions because, like I mentioned, most of us are not professional writers. There are a few who are published authors already, but most of us are not professional writers. So we did some like touch-ups on writing and how to just get that energy flowing. So many times we carry these thoughts in our head, and if we can just let them out and put them onto paper, that's where we can experience this level of healing, where we're taking whatever hurt us or what pained us, and we're putting it on paper. We're putting it somewhere else instead of storing it in our bodies. So we did actually bring in behavioral health professionals as well, just to talk to us about trauma and things like ACEs and systemic racism and all these different things that tie into trauma, because we wanted the women to have support during this process and to be able really to build camaraderie with others who are sharing their story, because like you guys at Divas know, that women supporting women only makes us stronger and makes our community stronger. So it was really a fantastic process. There was challenges too, but it was empowering, inspiring, and I felt so grateful and so full of joy to be able to be trusted with these women's stories in this process.
Oh, what a beautiful experience for you, along with all the other women, because like you said, as they could come together, collaborate together, and share their stories. And I loved how you said, it's called Wichita Women, but that's just where the women are kind of from. This has trauma, and everything has no boundaries. This book has no boundaries, because women all across the world face a lot of the same trauma that Wichita women face, trauma, diversity, challenges, whatever you want to call them. And just like I even heard you say, there were a lot of challenges in putting the book together. So you as a group have collaborated together through different challenges. And I love, too, how you said some of these women were not writers. Basically what I'm hearing, they're living everyday life women, just living their life and ready to share their story to impact other women. Sometimes women feel that they have to have a name and a title behind them to be able to do something. And this is not true. Each one of us has our own personal, unique gifts that we can share with the world to help make a difference out there. And I love how you have done this with this book, The Wichita Women.
Oh, thank you.
You are so welcome. And what I have to ask, what triggered it? Was there an aha moment in your life that said, this is something I really need to go out and do? Or was it something maybe for the last few years you've been thinking about? Or what triggered it that you felt this was a book that the world needed to have published to help women?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, Joyce. So ever since I was younger, I knew I wanted to do something involved with writing. I didn't know what that was going to be. Like I said, it took me into my 30s to finally have that aha moment present itself. And really, there were kind of two aha moments. One was I was at work at that time with Safe Streets Wichita, which does a lot of substance use prevention work. and I was sitting in the basement. It was super cold. I think it was a couple days before the holiday vacation, and I should have been like tackling this big old to-do list, because we never have a shortage of things that we need to get done. But instead, I got into just this deep, meaningful conversation with one of my coworkers, Jan Chandler, and she's actually a contributor in the book as well. And we connected, and, her vote of confidence in me is really what helped spark this thing. And I tell her to this day, in an alternate universe, if she had rolled her eyes and shrugged, that could have been a defining moment where if I let it, maybe I wouldn't have moved forward. Because that's the reality of it, is sometimes, although we learn to trust ourselves, and that should be the ultimate goal in our lives is to trust ourselves, sometimes we need another person to encourage us. And that's exactly what she did. She encouraged me, and that made just a world of difference in me taking that next small step in this project, which really, Joyce, led to the second aha moment, which was for the title of the book, Being Wichita Women. I was kind of brainstorming, playing around with some different titles. And I just did a quick Google search on Being Wichita Women. I wanted to make sure it wasn't already a book title. And what came up was just page after page after page of news articles about violence against women. Oh. And there was a few positive stories intermingled as I went through the pages, but the majority of them were violence against women. And I guess I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was still saddened that this is, what people see when they, Google Wichita women. And Google's just one thing. I get that. But
right.
To me, it was like this aha moment of no, we need to change the narrative of what it means to be a woman in Wichita. We do that by sharing our stories, and then that will help us impact others. So, yeah, those were the two big ones, I'd say.
Oh, wow. Those were incredible aha moments, because it is so important. Like in the beginning, you said the universe had your coworker there, your friend there to encourage you, because they knew in my belief, they knew at that moment you needed a little bit of encouragement to trust what was inside of yourself. And that is so crucial sometimes. And it is amazing how those people step into our lives and encourage us just when we need it. And then also when you said how you Googled it, and so much of the time, all we hear is the negativity. They do not focus. This world doesn't seem to focus enough on the positives that are out there, and how important it is to me to get them positive vibes out there and let people know there is positivity. And we just, as women, it's so important to share it with others. Oh, those were two beautiful aha moments.
Oh, thanks. No, and you're absolutely right. The resilience that is within each one of us, tapping into that, because although there are these negative real things that happen in people's lives, how can we tap into that resilience that each one of us has within us that allows us to cope with all the negative stuff going on around us or to us, or even things that happened before us that we're still facing the impacts of and the effects of in day-to-day life. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Right. Oh, it's so fitting. A friend of mine just sent me a saying yesterday, and this isn't near the exact quote, but kind of what it said was very much towards this, that we can either feel sorry for ourselves or we can look at the situation as what can I learn from this to move forward. And it's a choice. And how we make that choice makes such a difference in our lives. And I thought, oh my goodness, when you said that, it just reminded me of what she sent me. And I was like, oh, that's so fitting.
Yeah, well, that's so true. And each day, you know, I'm guilty of this, and I'm trying to unlearn this. But, you know, we can get stuck in a victim mentality if we allow ourselves to. But like exactly what you said, if each day there is some choice, then isn't that a little bit liberating?
Yes.
That we're not just victims, and we're not just tied to our bad attitudes or self-loathing or whatever it may be.
Oh, yes. And I always have to go back to gratitude, too. You look at it and say, okay, now what out of this? There may be only one thing you can think out of that day to be grateful for, but if you can concentrate on that one thing that you're showing gratitude for, it's a game changer. Is how I feel in my life. It is just amazing. And to me, that's what you've done with this book. When all the negativity was out there, you looked at the women that you could be grateful for to share their stories and gave them the platform and the opportunity to do that, and showing them that you are grateful for them, that there is the positivity in Wichita women. So people don't just say, well, look at the Wichita women, and they can look at this book and go, wow, this is incredible. So, what a beautiful experience this is for you and for all the women that have contributed and all the women that will be reading the book. I love it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's so, I didn't want to put too strict of criteria on what women were going to write about. So we kind of explored it, and people got a chance to really explore what they wanted to write about. So, there's folks who may talk about, their experience with homelessness or being a single mother. Maybe some people, there is that violence that they've experienced in their life, so maybe they talk about that. Or even there's a couple stories that talk about childhood trauma, and it gets tough to read this too on some of the parts. So we know that we all have different triggers. So the other thing we're trying to do is that, when people read this, to make sure that they are connected and have resources if they are triggered by it. So on the website, we're actually going to be doing our best to list different mental health resources on there in case people need somewhere to turn from reading these stories. So we figured that part was important too.
Well, and that is important because what you've done is opened a door for the women that if it triggers something and they feel this is something they need to deal with, it has hit that trigger, and then they'll know where to go to help to work through some of the issues, challenges, trauma that has happened in their life. And you speak of the website. What is the website that will be connected to the Being Wichita Women book?
Yeah, so there's actually two websites right now, but the one I'm going to share will be the permanent one, and that is www.quietstormservices.com.
Oh, that's even a neat title. Quietness to the storm.
Yeah, so that's actually, I'm kind of, from this project, I've birthed a business that will be doing some hybrid publishing and some things similar to this, because I figured if I found this much joy in this process, I may as well try to spend more time doing it with other people and other projects. So, yeah, stay tuned for more on that.
Oh, my goodness, how exciting. So you have launched your own business from doing this book. Oh, Danielle, congratulations. That is awesome.
Thank you. And, Sue, I had to add this. So much of this this book and this project success come from the women involved. Like, for example, I would have never thought to put the resources on the website, but we had somebody involved. Their name was Shauna Stevens, and she gave me that idea. And so what's really happened here is, like, what people are going to be seeing, this is what happens when women can collaborate and empower each other. It's like we build these beautiful things that really do change the world. And I'm just so grateful to be connected with the Divas That Care and have this network of other women that are doing the same kinds of things, just in different ways.
Oh, that is so exciting. Oh, Danielle, awesome. Well, do you have any final tips you would like to leave with our listeners today as we come to a close on this interview?
Yeah, I have just been encouraging people to just do some journaling. I have found in my life, even when I was younger, when I experienced hardship, what I would do was I would go read or I would go write. And I never knew that was going to be such a pillar of my life. And I know not everybody are readers, and that's okay. And not everybody's a writer, and that's okay. But find some sort of outlet for the frustrations and the different hardships you face. Find an outlet to put them. Don't let them stay with you in your body. I don't care if it's music. I don't care if it's jogging or, whatever it may be. Find that thing that you can do that you love, that brings you joy, and that relieves some of, the stress and the strain that you have in your life. Because once you find that thing, you don't want to let go of it, and you want to keep utilizing it to help take care of yourself, because we know that's, important, is taking care of ourselves. So, yeah, I think that's it. Just, if you've never journaled, try it. Like, even if you crumple it up and throw it away afterwards, like if you're concerned about privacy, maybe you have people in the house. I know I do. You can throw it away or scratch it out. It doesn't matter if it's great writing. It's just getting something outside of you that will help you process what is happening, and maybe even experience a little bit of healing from it. So, yeah.
Oh, that is beautiful tips. I love it. Find what you love to do, and just trust in yourself. Just let it release it. And if journaling is it, I know I do gratitude journals. I do other journals, and it's just so nice to write it down. And sometimes you can go back and reread it and go, oh my goodness, how fitting that is for today. And it it kind of changes your world.
No, absolutely.
Well, Danielle, I want to thank you so much for being on my show. And as the listeners are listening, I am going to ask, I would love to have you back on my show and dive more into the business that you have now created through Being Wichita Women book. Would you be a guest on Robust Lifestyles again in the future?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, that sounds great. Well, listeners, you heard it straight from Danielle. She will be back on the Robust Lifestyles show. Thank you again, Danielle.
Hold me accountable to it.
Okay, I definitely will.
All right. And thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You have a wonderful day.
Okay.
And I want to thank all of our listeners for listening to this amazing interview with an incredible diva, Danielle Ramirez. And you heard she will be back again on Robust Lifestyles. Please share this show with all your family and friends. Check out all the other hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. Have an absolutely magical day, and remember what she said. Trust yourself and find what you love to do, and let that be a release for the challenges in your life. Give your animals a great big hug and share all your love with them. And remember, be kind to all. Until we connect again on Robust Lifestyles, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.